Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's Creative Prudency back again, the one known as CR with an echo sound effect that I can't make because I'm just doing this over a single device. Hopefully, everyone's doing well, and welcome to my live with CR time. Reconnect with you all, and probably share a few things along the way, like I usually can do. Hopefully everyone's doing okay. Well, hopefully things are getting a little bit better, or as much as it can. Keep doing the things out there that you need to do. Now, if you gotta get something fixed, well, maybe now's a good time. Beforehand. If you're just starting that gardening thing, go try something else too, among some other things. As I had to do a few things too on the way. Hi, Vanessa. Good afternoon, Vanessa. Hopefully you're doing well. Appreciate you dropping by. Yeah, you know that this is on my bucket list of things to do. Hi. Hey, look, my bucket actually has some liquid in it. Oh, okay, Vanessa, I see. So yeah. Oh. As soon as I pulled away from it, a drop just came down. I was just like, that was like the most epic timing ever. I'm like, yes. Hopefully you'll have another. Well, I guess you'll just wait, but yeah. I guess that just means that you'll have more to want to grow or want to try out next year. I didn't try anything this year. It's kind of more standard what I'm growing, pretty much. Didn't really change. Because I wasn't sure at first. When I first started the year, back in April, May, right? Like, yeah, you start things, you sprout things, or germinate things, right? But, like, just looking at the weather as a whole, it's just like, man, it's already 86 Fahrenheit outside in May. And it's just like, there's barely any rainwater. Now, because it happened early in terms of, like, the season, I had less plants, less developed plants, obviously no mature plants, It's not like during May I had like a 4-foot sunflower. No, not even, right? So the plants didn't need as much water because they're physically smaller. So, but I've been lucky that it's been raining with some sunshine. It's cloudy out today. Like, I could show you. It is definitely cloudy out today. Oh yeah. See? Cloudy. Or mostly cloudy. Well, I don't even know if you call... No, I think it's... Yeah, cloudy. I was going to say overcast, but I don't think it's quite overcast, but it's mostly cloudy. Haven't even seen the disk of the sun. Actually, I can't even notice it right now. So it actually might be overcast. It might be overcast. I can't really tell where the disk of the sun is. I know the approximation, but it's at the time, but I can't see it. That's awesome to hear, Vanessa. Well, I'm supposed to be getting some warmer temperatures. Well, at least compared to today, anyways. Generally, it's like kind of like slightly above seasonal value. I mean, it's not to be hot, but it's not to be cool like this here, so. Hence, I'm making sure I'm gathering the rainwater like usual. Just might need it. There's supposed to be a chance later today, but we'll see if it actually occurs, though. I have no idea. until it actually happens. I have to wait for it. And all that stuff. Yeah, because in the last couple of days and such, I've been doing more of that stuff. I mean, I've been thinking about expanding the water collection. I've been thinking about it. Because I'm just like, at times, I'm just like, a good couple of hours, and at times, like, good enough rain falls or fast enough or long enough, then you can fill up all the way, right? I mean, like, there's always going to be a max capacity for water. No matter how big it is, it's big, but there may be a time where the rainfall or whatever exceeds that. Just because the duration or how much really falls, or a combination of both. So I've been thinking about that. Because people have been asking me, like, oh, do you want this year? I'm like, oh, I don't know, because it's just like, I have to put it somewhere while it's in use, right? Obviously, if it's not in use, yeah, I can put it aside or whatever. But if it's in use, then it's in use. And also, I'm not moving like this big, giant thing of water around. At least not without even like, mechanical advantage to moving around with like a dolly or whatever, right? So, hello, Howie. Good afternoon, Howie. Hopefully you're doing well too. Most of them are, yeah. See, there's always an upper limit for the capacity for the water. I mean, obviously, you try to increase that, so that max capacity is much, much higher, Let's say tenfold, for example, or even 2x. Because since I was here, I'm hi, Samara, I see you too. I'm remembering what they're doing out on the other places for regreening different areas in the world, and they're using swales and all that stuff for water or rain catchment or rain harvesting kind of structures that are built into the dirt. Well, dug into the dirt or soil. Well, probably dirt, because it's probably not anything growing there if they're putting that in. But yeah, to gain some water. Hold on, I'm just reading Vanessa's comment real quick. Yeah, okay, yeah. She should add that sunflower. Yeah. And a random dot. Someone's on the dog here. Yeah. I was rearranging some stuff because I got something. Well, it's not new, but it's new to me, but it's reused. Well, recovered anyways, right? So I have this there table here now. I'll show you. It's nothing major. So I get this random table that it's on right now. We'll see what I'll do with it. I've had it for so long, and it's still good. Although I'm thinking of like adjusting it in terms of like functionality. There's a couple of spots. I mean, yeah, it's still solid. Just maybe I might stain it or paint it or whatever. We'll see. It'll be fine for now. It's sitting. It's sitting. Well, in an enclosed, sheltered area, so rain's not gonna hit it. But I mean, the surface is smooth, so at least I'm not gonna get random splinters by using this. Because I've been rearranging a few things lately. Well, actually, a lot more things lately. As I tried to get some stuff done as much as possible. That's where I'm at. Yeah, I guess I can unplug my phone for a little bit. I've already kept up like 12%. There are little things too that I'm trying to recover. No, no word of a lie. I mean, yeah, no word of a lie. No word of a lie. Oh, by the way, I don't drink much anymore. I haven't had one for like half a year. So, yeah, that's not all for me. Hello, Mother Earth. How you doing? Yeah, I have my reasons for it now. At least for this. Now, let me compress that down so I have more space. Whew. More space in this bag. Well, more space to put more into the bag. Alright. Because I realize the value of certain items at times. Or at least the potential of certain items. Ooh. Hold on a sec. Okay. No, I was worried something. I just knocked by something. It didn't fall over, but it was like tilting a little. I was just like, it's not gonna fall over right away, right? I mean, for the headphone users out there, I don't want to make a loud racket all over my stream. Everyone would be like, ah! You know, there was no headphone alert. Hey, it's Aquatic. How's it going? Hey, I didn't say that all the way, Howie. I didn't say that all the way. Yeah, you harvested Nerf now. Nice. Hey, maybe for Howie here, I'll harvest green onion. I'll just leak the footage out on my stream. That's with 2 E's, by the way. Oh. Yeah. So I do appreciate everyone that dropped by my last video. Actually, I'm actually surprised that video went so well for what it is. It's doing much better than, well, these other videos. I mean, the content's slightly different, but I appreciate everyone that did drop by on that. You know what's funny? When when I was setting it up, right? Remember, I've been scheduling these videos for, well, the whole year already, and then some, and including whatever I did last year, right? So whatever you saw in the last video, when you saw that was probably like a month ago, to be more transparently honest about it. But you know, wow, where was I going with this? I just lost my train of thought there. All right, Howie. I just totally lost my train of thought on that. Just poked right on my head on that. I just looked up and like, gone. But anyways, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Now I remember now. So yeah, when I was doing it, right, I kind of forgot to add in a few things. Okay, yesterday, I'm just quite quickly trying to add it back in. I don't know if it'll affect the performance of the video, but I was just like, oops, I forgot to put the tags in. I mean, I had the hashtag, so I didn't have the tags in, but whatever. Always had the description. And the thumbnail and the title. So, yeah. Basically, I guess it went fantastically well for what it is. Oh, okay, I see a clock. And reading what Mother Earth is saying to us. Yes, and all that stuff. So, yeah. Okay. Hold on a sec. Sorry, I had to check on something real quick. Here. Might as well put it back in my phone. So, yeah. Some of that stuff been going on, and obviously, you know, it's been raining. I've gotten some sunshine. You know, obviously I'm getting more clouds and rain today compared to sunshine, but you know. I think how I just randomly heard somewhere. Really, really random. Like, literally, it's not even that windy out yet. I heard something that sounded like metal. I was just like, what? Nah. It's probably just a minor shift. I always feel... Nah, I don't figure there's no sense in come back out today. I don't know. I feel like I see a very, very small hint of blue sky. But it's like... it's definitely mostly cloudy out. Like, 99% cloudy. I think I know where the disk of the sun is, but I can't tell. So yeah, I guess if I was lost, it'd be harder to tell where the disk of the sun is precisely. If you're not do that analog clock thing with your watch or something like that, to figure out north south, so you can figure out north. I also don't see the disk of the sun. Alright. Oh, no, I think I noticed it. Although it's quite high, but yeah, I think I noticed it barely though. It is quite more high above. And welcome, Molly and Sassy Gal. Thanks for joining me today. I just made that up. I mean, I gotta welcome them somehow. Well, Mother Earth. Looks like... Oh, look at the... Oh, this must be fake green, right? CGI? No, it's real. This stuff's definitely real. To sprout your interest. Actually, how's this one going? Oh, maybe I'll get a lot of seats out of that. This is just one little spot I have. One little spot. You've had rain too. I've had some rain too here. At least you guys are getting some rain. Hopefully to go with that sunshine. Hopefully get a nice, relatively balanced system going. Relatively speaking, for your own area. I know some areas can get more wet, rain more, or get more heat. So I've been fortunate, at least this month. Last month too. There's been some heat, but there's been some rain, and then there's like everything in between, and then random sun showers. I still haven't really seen a rainbow though. I figured with all this mixed precipitation, mixed conditions, I would see that. But I haven't. It's probably just timing, or where I'm standing. Hey, it's Aaron Pyrus. Hi, how are you doing? How you doing, my Canadian friend? Hopefully you're doing well. Yeah. Hey, but then there's other times where it's just like, it's not raining in the next 5 minutes, it actually does. So, I mean, then there's other times where it wasn't in the forecast, right? So it rains in the morning instead of afternoon like it was scheduled. Then that's all. But, I don't know. Yeah. I'm just gonna put that on. Let me just put that on. I'm just gonna put that on the screen right here. Let's just highlight this big emoji right here. I'll just highlight that on the screen randomly and shrink that back down and make it disappear. Yeah, it's cool here today. It's probably only like 68 Fahrenheit, 18 Celsius out, give or take. Give or take. Because it is cloudy out. It's like breeze. It did rain earlier. I mean, it's not right now. The ground's mostly dried out. Wow, not dry, but, not soaking wet. Or it's starting to dry out. We're soaking the ground, so. Well, at least someone noticed. At least someone noticed that. And everyone's just listening to me like ramble on. Someone's actually paying attention to what I'm showing on the screen at times. Alright. But yeah. So yeah, I'm just rearranging some things outside right now. As much as I can. For the times that I have. What, you're getting just over 21 Celsius? Dang. Although, generally, that's probably quite seasonal for most areas. Well, here in Canada. I mean, give or take. Depends how far south or north or on the coast or whatever, but, it's kind of like that 70 zone. 70 and 21 Celsius zone. Where, for most people, that actually is decent weather for what it is, or if it's sunny out, winds are calm or whatever, it's not so bad. It's not too hot, but it's not shivering. But it's not, it's you know. Charge up my phone a little before I go show you something. It's been really hot today, yes. Oh. I see Iron Fire Horse. I see. Well, I don't see it, but I've seen it hot out here too. Yeah, probably better than 33, 34 Celsius. Yeah. Yeah, I got you. Iron Fire Horse. Yeah. In comparison, right? It's like the difference between like it's a noticeable difference anyways. Stuff like that. It's like the difference between being in obviously temperature is measured in the shade, but like being underneath a tree, for example, in shade, a breeze going by, it doesn't. It only feels like 80 Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius, for example, right? In comparison to like, it's 95, 35 Celsius in the sun, or more. Let's see. I knew Sassy was gonna chime in. She's like, I gotta chime in. They're talking about humidity. I don't know about the Celsius stuff, but they're talking about humidity. So I can chime in. Yeah, that kind of blows. High humidity, no breeze. Barely any shade. Yeah. It's much tougher. Alright? You get that kind of, this, like, stationary hot air that lingers around. You know what I mean? It doesn't subside, or it barely subsides at night or something like that, and it's just like almost relentless. You might get an hour or two like at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, where it's like only like maybe 75, 24 Celsius, but then it's just like as the day goes on, it's just like, and as the time goes on too, I always forget about these heat waves and stuff. It's one thing if the temperature, like today, let's say it's 70 Fahrenheit, 21 Celsius for days and days, for a week, then suddenly you have one day of just hypothetically speaking, where the temperature rises, like even rises overnight, right? And then the next day, for some reason, it changes into like that, let's say 30 Celsius and 86 Fahrenheit range. Okay, let's say 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius range, right? And, for some people, it wouldn't be so bad, given the demands, right? It's the first day, right? But the thing is about something like that, especially with cold too, is that the longer it occurs, the longer it takes at times to like either cool down or warm back up. If that makes any sense, because it lingers around for a while, right? It lingers around for a while, and while it lingers around, you're using these resources like AC, water, a fan, probably a little bit more frequently, right? Like for me, at 21 Celsius, 70 Fahrenheit, I'm not using a fan because I don't need to. It's not even that bad, right? I could take off my hoodie or whatever, right? My shirt, my long sleeve shirt or whatever, right? But there's a certain amount of time that goes by where it becomes harder and harder to deal with. Now you prefer winter? Oh, that's very nice of you, Sassy. But yeah, stuff like I notice more and more. So like I said, it's one thing to go through a day of heat or extreme cold, relatively speaking, right? But it's actually that days of it, or it seems like days of it, right? It becomes more relentless, right? Because you got to use these resources, whatever it is, heater in the winter, AC fans in the summer, and everything in between, right? Obviously, water and food's going to be important too, right? So, and you adjust to it. I mean, you'll have to adapt to it, right? Because that's how the conditions are for your area for the time of year, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, but like if you're going from 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius or more for days and days, right? It's just as how do I say? Or it seems like it's just as relentless as the cold if it was extreme cold, and stuff like that. Because you gotta, metaphorically burn through the resources in terms of, or use them, like AC power, blah, 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 blah. And it becomes more difficult when things like that are not available for use for whatever the reason is, because, whatever that is. Because Iron Fighters, you're my number one fan. And you'll find a way, Iron Fire Horse. I know you'd find a random way, if absolutely necessary, right? If absolutely necessary, you would find a way. Somehow. Or maybe restructure, like, things that are done. So you're doing them, like, early in the morning or late, really late at night kind of deal, right? And restructuring your events or task, whenever possible, to that cooler part of the day. And of course, during the winter, probably towards, the warmer part of the day. Right? Probably the opposite thing. Like, literally, everything would be the opposite. Almost, right? But it's still structured around, like, daytime hours as much as possible. Well, I mean, I do dig what you're going with, how you're going with it there, Iron Forest, but I mean, like, well, technically, lower areas tend to be cooler, or at least be less hot, less hot, due to the fact that heat rises, generally speaking. So, and you might have that cooling effect because ground is absorbing the heat out. But I mean, if it's still in the sun, I don't know, and there's no breeze, I don't know. You might get a little bit more relief, but then again, if it's like covered with trees, lower in ground level, and there's a breeze or whatever and some earthings, it might not even be so bad for what it is. For what it is. I could just imagine just randomly, it's just like, hey, where's your tent, CR? It's down there. Why is it down there? Because it's hot out. So do you dig what I'm doing here? I don't know. I mean, like, it's probably possible. Well, work to dig, all right? Also, especially if you don't have anything major, like, let alone a shovel, all right? A little spade digging such a big hole would take a little bit of time. Doable, but take some time, probably. Yeah, I get what you mean. As far as even yesterday, last night, like I was kind of warm in the cover, so I opened the window and I managed to get some sleep, at least more consistently reliable. Oh, look, I slept for more than like an hour at any one time, kind of sleep, right? Hopefully, get some REMs in me, all right, all and all that stuff. So. Well, hey, Iron Fighters, why don't you just blame it on that auto carrier? Come on, you did it the other time you were here. I have the screenshot of that. But it was so funny. I had to share it with people. Be like, yes, this is what my subscribers said to me, with a CR in it. Especially people that actually know what I do, both on the channel and in the real world, or seen me. They're like, oh. See what I mean? Although she was supposed to emphasize the CRNA. But I'll let that fly. He was probably just that autocorrect doing that ping again, right? You didn't spell check it, no. Yeah, I know, right? Straight up sassy. Right? Mother Earth just sounds so epic, like on a grand scale, something like that. Yeah. So yeah. Since today's Tuesday here, I've been like thinking of stuff that I want to try to do before the end of summer again. I know, I'm already starting to think of that already. Oh, and by the way, everyone, technically I got videos until October. Oh, did I just say that? At the moment. Like I said, I've been scheduling. I've sent some people some random screenshot. You know, I'll blur out the thumbnails and the titles, but it'll be like, oh yes, that's all I have at the moment. Because I realize it also gives, you know, I say this all the time, but I realize more and more that I've been enjoying the scheduling. I don't know, it's just like, it almost reminds me how preparedness is supposed to be one of these things that, like, you're doing things beforehand while it's easy, relatively straightforward, less stressful or whatever, right? So, like, instead of, it's just like a test, too, right? Instead of cramming last night, or like 5 minutes before you enter the classroom, right? It's that same idea of just like the scheduling on the channel, right? And it's just like, I've been able to maintain it. I think it's because, like, some of the videos that just drop in my lap, I could just shoot them right away, right? Record them and do all this stuff, right? Then other times while that's going on, right? Maybe I have a buffer zone of videos, however many. Well, that gardening stuff, well, you know what? I cannot make a sunflower randomly turn from a seed to a flower without some editing magic, right? So I'm gonna wait for real time to occur. And I have no idea how it's gonna turn out until it actually does its thing, right? Because I can foresee it to a certain degree. I can predict it to a certain degree, but I have no idea what the size of it's gonna be, the height, how long it's gonna kind of flower for, how long I gotta wait for the, all the stuff, right? And the rain and the sunshine that's necessary for them too. Whoa, 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 whoa. Well, essentially, like I said, I've shown you obviously, but like it's because then it allows me to at least have some buffer room. Like for example, because the gardening stuff is not a guarantee until I actually get a harvest or something usable out of it, right? So like until then, I'm still hoping, right? Like most of the time, it's not be fairly sound, right? But the thing is, I don't want to be like, oh, guys, I planted like thousands of sunflowers, and then there's an update video. I just lost like 3/4 of them, or whatever, because of this, right? I guess it would make a video, but that also means that I can't show like this big, vast area of sunflowers or the harvest or any of this sort of stuff, right? Those are videos that I could be doing. Yeah, I'm making one video out of it for sure, but getting another 3 or 4 would be nice in the sequence. Or be able to join some of the sequences together to make a much longer or larger video that has like a lot of value in it, because there's a lot of content. Well, not just content, but information, knowledge. Maybe something to sprout your humor with, and stuff like that. A bunch of words that I'll say that's rooted in reality and all that stuff. I just said all of that, Kaboom. Some of that easy content that's your bread and butter. Yes, 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 I'm reading the chat. I'll just randomly throw in a food metaphor in there. He's talking about food, everyone. Everyone jump in. Hey, at least I'm paying attention to the chat. Right? I am paying attention to chat. I'm not just so absent-minded I'm just talking without looking at chat here. I don't want to fall behind that far on my chat. I mean, at times I fell behind like 15 minutes, maybe at most, but usually I'll catch up. Because some of the sentences are quite short, right? A couple of yum, happy face, blah, 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 and all this stuff. I mean, I don't need to say that out loud. I just scan through it and stuff like that. Shh, sassy. Don't say it out loud. Other people might get hungry or come after my food. I just made that up, by the way. I just literally just made that up, by the way. But yeah, like I said, reconnecting with you. Just reconnecting with you all. Giving you a slice of what I'm doing. Yeah, see? I told you, I'm paying attention to the chat. I read at least one of the words in the sentences, right? Or else I would know, what to say or what door to knock on to say what I want to say. To get the message across without just leaving it underneath like a metaphoric door or in modern times that'd be like some like scheduled message in advance. You know, hey, I sent you a scheduled message. Really? When? You'll get it in 10 minutes. Oh, okay. Because it's scheduled for like whatever the time is. What's my phone doing? All right, I just had to make sure it's at 70. I think I can actually almost turn on my brightness. Yay. But yeah, so I've been trying to make a little bit more content. Well, actually, I have been, but oh, hey Sassy, this reminds me. I sent. Well, she knows about. Well, she doesn't know the video, but I've sent screenshots anyways, right? Well, let's just say I updated the video. I decided to add some more into it. I'm like, luckily I had the project file. Well, not only the project file, but the working files, like the video and stuff like that, because I was just like, I wanted to add to it, all right? Or at least the final video I originally had. So I added to it. I just kind of like, we'll see. Well, you'll probably notice where I kind of spliced it together, but I was just like, I was trying to like, a spot where it would look like, oh, I meant to do this originally, right? Because originally, when I did it, I was just like, well, once you see it, you'll notice it a lot more, right? It'll definitely be different than what it is today, because that video will be in the sun. It'll definitely be in the sun and much warmer out. Unlike today's cloudy day on a Tuesday. See, Sassy says Sears always hungry, then randomly someone's eating pizza, now you're talking about sweet corn and pizza. You guys try? I mean, guys? You gals? You ladies are trying, aren't you? Like, you're, like, look at the chat. Like, look at the chat. Oh, I'm pretty sure I have the live stream chat replay available, but like, look at this. Like, and people wonder why I get hungry. Why are you hungry, Seer? Because people keep talking about it. Even on my own chat. I'm not even bringing it up, but, you know, someone's got to bring it up or something like that. You know. There's just no winning. The only way is to join them and eat. Yeah, I just made that up. I mean, seriously though. I mean, like, no, it is a word, but it is a word. That's why I make it a big deal all the time. Randomly. You know, damn it, I should have got a snack before the stream. I knew I should have eat. I really should eat before my own live streams too, I guess. I really should know better. But yeah, no, it's because I'm doing stuff. I'll eat. I'll eat when I eat. Right? Missing one meal or a day isn't, right? Obviously, in time it can, because it'll weaken you. Obviously, you need the food energy, right? Because that's the thing. It depends what I'm doing too, right? If I'm not even doing much, it's one thing. But if I'm doing a lot of things, then yeah, I need that food energy back into me. Let's just say, yeah, like, going for a walk. I did this one year. I actually did this much longer walk, like hours and hours, right? Where I'm talking like, well, with elevation change or whatever. And supposedly it's considered medium in terms of like difficulty or whatever, or intermediate. Yeah, intermediate, right? So I was just like, I went with two other friends, right? One of them actually is, well, so they're supposed to be both following me on the channel, but you know, I never did record that, or at least not enough to make a video out of. I mean, in hindsight, I probably would have did more. In hindsight, now that I think about it, I probably would have did more. But it is what it is. But I just like, afterwards, I was actually hungry. I had a couple snacks or on the trail or whatever, right? Nothing major, right? Obviously water, right? It was probably more or less like a day to day. It wasn't even hot out. Probably like 70 Fahrenheit. More more cloudy than sunny, right? So, and this was would have been earlier in the year, like in very late April or May or somewhere around there. It's been a while. I mean, there was no snow on the ground, so, but it also, the leaves weren't all well, there was no leaves on the trees, right? So like, you could see all the bare branches everywhere. So it's like in that in between time, because it was like it was probably better than doing it like in 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius weather, probably, right? That would have been killer. That would have been killer for sure. Trying to do that. I mean, I might try it now since I've actually done this route once now, right? But kind of like more ideal conditions where it's not too hot, not too cold, right? You know, not sweating a lot, but you're not getting too cold or whatever, right? And stuff like that. So it was a nice little thing. But because I did, after doing that, I was just like, yeah, I realized how hungry I was because I just burned like, what is it? It's supposed to be like 250 calories per hour if you're walking. However, that changes if you have weight on your back because you're rucking it or whatever, pack, I don't know, right? Or, well, let alone just carrying water, but, and the elevation change and your stride and all that stuff and how far you're pushing it, Is it walking, power walking, jogging, right? Running obviously changes things. Oh, I see. Fire horse. I see. Who are you asking that to, Sassy? You just wrote that message. What kind of food are you growing in your garden? Or are you asking in general? I'm assuming you're asking it to Mother Earth. Because she just wrote a bunch of stuff. There's a CR word there. Peas and bees. Oh. I like I like how I really saw that before she removed it. I was just like, well, that's okay, Iron Fire Horse. Yeah, that's okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm just growing kind of standard things like Mother Earth, peas, beans, a couple tomatoes for what it is, onions, stuff like that. Things that, relatively speaking, right? But I need to learn more about it. Overall, right? Overall, I need to learn a lot more. Like the back of my hand. Hey, there's a mark on the back of my hand. How'd that get there? Just kidding. Like the back of your hand, right? It's just like, or whatever, right? Where you know it inside and out a little bit better. Because you're actually not, you've seen this whole life cycle of it, right? So you know relatively how long, what to expect, and stuff like that. It's more, not necessarily on the lines of predictable or repeatable, but something that's, or even the word reliable, it's more like consistent, I guess would be a better word to choose. Just keep eating, just keep eating. Sorry. I'm sorry. I did that Dory thing there. Yeah. I'll be perfectly honest. I can if I really wanted to. I just don't feel like it, actually. That's why. I just don't feel it. Or I don't feel the need to or want to. So, like, I get stuff, but just don't feel like it or want to, anyways. I'll be like, oh look, there's coffee, kind of deal, right? It'll be like 10 o'clock in the morning. I'll be like, oh look, there's coffee though, right? That kind of thing. And the next thing I know, that, yep, wake up with that instead, right? Yeah, exactly. So yes, today is one of those days that I'm trying to do stuff, but maybe not as much as I would like. I mean, I did some stuff, don't get me wrong. I don't know, a couple of chores, standard little CR things I have to do at times, right? Among some other things that are required during the time of year, right? That's some maintenance or whatever, right? As much as I can do. Sometimes you get help, sometimes you don't, or whatever, but, try to do what you can, right? And hopefully an ounce of prevention will be worth a pound of cure later on, as they say, right? Hey, look! I actually used the CR word in a different way, yes. I actually used the CR word last week, right, for the first time in ever, because the context of the conversation sometimes. Oh, what was it? Vulture, vulture, right? VOUCHER, right? It's got CR in it, right? So I was just like, I'm like, ooh, I should actually try to use that word more often. But then again, I might get hungry if I start saying something like that, because usually that's related to, can be related to food. Well, I mean, someone gave me something too, right? And it's it's just, I just don't feel it at that moment, anyways, right? I mean, it can change or whatever, right? Because I think, for me, the reason why it started to fade away more is because I was also, when I was younger, right, no word of a lie, I was more of I'm drinking socially, right? So outside of that environment, I don't feel like it, or I don't want to, right? So, yeah. For my friends come over, they bring a barbecue and steak and all that stuff, and some, it might change. It could change that fast, right? But obviously that's not happening right now, so, I don't feel it. Or I don't feel like I need to, if that makes any sense. I see, Murph. I see. And so, do what you gotta do, right? For what it is. Right, so do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do. I'm just gonna put this timer on. Okay. I'll just put this. Hold on. I just drank all this coffee, so give me a sec here. I gotta do that thing. So you can see the timer randomly. Okay, I'm back. Don't think I just left. I see. I'm actually surprised I remember things sometimes. Maybe not all the way. I do, never did black out or anything like that. So, but like I said, I was also one of those to socialize, that kind of thing, right? But yeah, enough about that. What do you gals and guys all been up to, right? I know it's July. Third week in July, no? Oh yeah, it's Tuesday, so yeah. At the time of this replay, shout out to the replay gang like usual, right? So like, obviously some of you have been harvesting a few things. I mean, I've had some green onion and stuff like that. You guys are probably just watering, maintaining it, probably doing some maintenance of some sort, right? Stuff that you can do while it's still nice out and all that stuff. Oh, well, I guess that explains everything now. Now I know. Hopefully I'll remember that. I'm sorry. But yeah. Well, then the matter of, you don't just stand up. You gather and sit up and then stand up. In one smooth motion, right? That way it's like, you don't startle it, right? I guess maybe that's why we use that expression, scaredy cat, right? Because cats can do that random jumping randomly. I mean, I've seen some of the cat videos on that kind of stuff. It does happen, or it can happen. Well, I just went all flat in the conversation. Thanks, Iron Virus. I was trying to raise the bar on it, and then it's just like, it just flattened right out. So right now, I'm not getting sunshine, but I can almost see some blue sky. Like, literally. And I'm facing against the sun part, but... Alright. Yeah, right there, see. A little bit of blue sky. Can't quite tell all the way, but it is blue there. This is because the sun's that way. Wait. I can turn on my camera. It's actually, this would be really considered a sunny break right now. Like, no word of a lie. You can... Very faint shadow. A little bit stronger than it looks on camera, but... Would be possible to get some solar ignition going here. I mean, I've done solar ignition with sun flurries and sun flurries and sun showers before. It is possible. There's opportunities, right? And there's no time, right? Of course, but I'm not doing that right now. But the solar lights, on their hand, they'll need a little bit more time than just like a minute of sunshine. Right? So let's allow them to gather some extra solar energy for me here. I've still been considering on getting some more. I kind of like them. I don't know. I've just been more fascinated with them. And I've noticed, and I've said this before Like, I've noticed more and more people are having them nowadays. This reminds me that I saw this black cat the other day. Was it yesterday? I think it might have been even yesterday. Alright. I don't know who it belongs to, but I've seen it around. Although it's one of the more timid type of cats. It never approaches me. I've seen this orange cat around here that's very friendly, right? He'll approach you and, oh, what was its name? Someone told me. Yeah, dang it. I'm trying to remember right now, but yeah, I've seen it around here. And this other cat, so. No, but this orange cat, yeah, if I see it, it would just approach me. Now, it'd be funny now. All this cat talk, and one just shows up. I don't personally own a cat. If one just randomly shows up right now, I'd be like, they must have heard the category that I'm talking about. See how I just used that word? Yeah. But yeah. So I tried to get a few things done here. Sort a few things, maybe organize a few things, check on a few things. You know, do my standard inventory kind of things that I can and will and might and probably should do and all that stuff around here. As much as I can, because it'll probably be worth it. Especially if I can fit more room in this bag. Might be nice. Just like the water gathering rainwater is an output capacity, right? So the more I can fit into the volume of the bank, well, the more worth it is in this case. Oh yeah. See, I rarely use that Sierra word, but I just had to, say it. I mean, might have been a mouthful, but I still have to say it. Yeah. Yeah. All right, Iron Fighters, take care. See ya, Iron Fighters. See you. Oh, look at that! I got a nice flower growing here. For anyone that hasn't seen that flower video, or the flower videos, at least the first two, right? Well, I can't show you them now because they're spent. Those videos, they're pretty much spent now. Welcome back, Ellie. Those are spent now. It's been a while. I think I only have one of the flowers still going for me here. Oof, it's kind of chilly in the wind too when I'm wearing a vest. I mean, like, here, I'll show you one of them. See, I still have this one at least. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, see. Look, the sunflower wants to say hi. Hi, everyone. The sunflower's here. Yeah. Alright. But some of the other flowers are like spent. I'm probably just gonna literally pull them off and chop and drop them back in the ground. Because they're spent. They don't even have the color anymore. Like no word of what they look like. Well, what flowers do after they're spent. So, yeah. Although I still have some of these purple ones. like these purple ones. I don't know why. Hold on one sec. Sorry, just had to take care of something. Well, he's back. He's gone again. See, Howie. I appreciate you dropping by. And dropping by again. And probably dropping by in the future again, too. And all that stuff. Yeah, I get it. Things happen and all that stuff. So, yeah. I don't even know where I was going with all this. I just randomly showed something. Oh, yeah, because I'm interacting with my chat. I'm forgetting what I was going to talk about. Because I feel like I just got derailed. But whatever. Yeah. Now, like I said, it rained earlier today. In the morning, so I won't probably have to water today. Ground's still actually damp now. Like, I mean, I can still see some spots that are more saturated with water, like on the wood or cement or anything like that. But there's definitely no puddles. It's been, I don't know, 6 hours since it rained. So, and at least it rained not a lot, but long enough that it at least soaked into the ground, then just run off the surface somewhere else, right? Because obviously, you know, something like rain catchment off the roof, that's runoff, pretty much, right? Because it doesn't soak into the roof, right? Obviously, right? It runs off into a gutter that runs down a pipe, down to some cistern or water catchment container, drum container, vessel, however you want to call it, right? Even with a CR word in there, right? Stuff like that. I'm just checking on some of these plants I have out here. I'm definitely seeing some flowers on some of them. I'm trying to notice if I see anything a little bit beyond just that. Oh yeah, I do. Oh yeah, I do. Actually, I should check that one, actually. Maybe I'll show you guys. I see my earth. Oh, yeah, I'm starting to see some of them. See? No word of a lie. Look. Ooh, see? Yeah. Well, if you're watching this, you just saw a sneak peek randomly that I haven't even shared with, like, our people. Really. Well, at least that's going nicely, actually. Oh, yeah, I got another cluster right beside it. Nice. Wow, I'm definitely going to get a lot of that. Wow. I think this is, this is the one that I kind of it was never direct sown into the ground, like grown in the ground, but I did transplant it in, but originally it was kind of not at its best, let's just say, but I managed to give it some time, you know, and all that stuff, and well, I've seen the fruits of my labor. Literally now. Now, harvesting, that's a different thing, right? I could see the fruits of my labor. That doesn't include harvesting. Oh yeah, there is some more sunny breaks now. Clouds are breaking a little. Maybe now it's just mostly cloudy with sunny breaks. Yeah, you do, Murph? Casper. That's my pizza. All right. See, Murph, you need to make a version of one, but a cat-friendly version of one. All right. That way, Casper feels like, oh, I'm part of this. All right. All right. All right. You know, I don't know how, but I can imagine something like a little mini slice, but it's like cat-friendly version of it, right? I don't know. Maybe it's possible. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? Let's check on some other stuff here. I got some other flowers growing here. I don't remember the names of some of this stuff at times. And there's art. See, I have another one. Then, like, I barely see any flowers on it, let alone fruit on it, right? But I mean, they're relatively close. Not that far away, but they're not that close. But I think I have more than one plant, right? So as long as I get some sort of harvest, it'll still be better than none. But I'm trying to notice it in this. I might actually have to prune this one. Or take a look at it a little bit more. And not assume that it's actually going to do its thing. I might actually have to encourage it a little here. Yeah, I might have to prune some of this. Especially after this week. But, I might. Well, probably won't do it right now, but maybe. No, okay. I see, Mother Earth. Yeah. I mean, I showed you what I'm seeing, but there's not much to see. Just a bunch of leaves. Not even. I don't know. Like, it could be doing better. I think. I don't know. There might be. I think I might be having issues with this one. I might actually have to cut my losses. I don't know. Let's see. I'll have to see. I'm glad I didn't just plant one, right? Yeah. Because I'm looking at this specific bed, I'm just like, I don't see anything favorable for it. I mean, I have other things growing in this bed, so it's not a total loss, but it's not like I actually see the fruit. Maybe it's gonna take a little bit longer. I might actually have to prune this one a lot more than I think. Maybe redirect some of that energy out to somewhere else. Because I do see the flowers, but are very few of them, but they're not really like abundant right now. And the plant is like just as tall as the other one that I showed earlier. It's just as tall, right? More or less, right? So I guess we'll see. At least the other things are doing well, actually. Alright, take a look. Other plants are doing very, very well. They got nice green or dark green leaves on them, right? Without any spotting or, random holes in the leaves as much and stuff like that. I could see the fruits of my labor. The water. the amending of the soil that I do during the spring and fall time, right? That I've been doing for 5 years now, at least, on a regular basis. Seems like it's helping. There's some residual nutrients in the ground. And also, the stuff that I put down at times, it's not biologically plant available right away, right? But because of that, it takes more time. But because of that, it's like a slow type of release, right? So it's also the plants are pulling something out of the ground, something out of the air to make all that stuff, right? The structure of the plant, the roots, the stem, the leaves, the flower, and the fruit, right? All take something from the ground or from the air, all right? I don't know it by name or I don't know it by name. Nice, my nerve. Nice. I mean, I got some other stuff growing anyway, technically. Technically, I do have other things growing. Let me put my hand in the front so no one thinks that's an image or CGI or something pre-recorded. Yeah. It's real at the time of this recording. See. It's looking pretty plump right now. Alright. Looking pretty plump as I take a look at this. This intertwines very, very tight. I noticed that. Like if I move one, the one in the back moves because it's just like so much of it. And all that stuff. I have one like now called Black Strawberry. Oh. Okay. So it's just a name here. Yeah. So yeah. It's looking very, very well. Obviously it's got flowers on it too. Can't wait to have some of this later in the year. Within time. It actually makes me want to try out something again. Maybe. Just for fun. At least I would know it a little bit better. Right? I got help on this one. So I'm still trying to learn it. Right? Learning by seeing, learning by doing, learning by actually trying it out. Oh yeah, I'm getting a lot more sun out now. Look at that. Look at that. I'm getting more sun now. Sun's right there, but yeah, see, I'm getting some more blue sky patches. So, more sunny breaks, which means the solar lights I have, right, and the plants I have can go through photosynthesis, because now there's actually visible light. Visible light. So, it can absorb some of that solar energy, or at least the visible light. The visible spectrum of it. I just speak of it now. It's like strong enough to do solar ignition, because I can see my shadow. So it's definitely strong enough light for that, and it's long enough that the window of opportunity would be here, if it came down to that, right? Ignite some charcoal or something like that, you know. It'd be enough to get a tinder bundle or a bird's nest if I had to. At this moment. For solar ignition. Like I could just feel the heat. Like the difference, right? Being in the cloud the whole time, cloudy day, most of the day, and then you just get this like beam of light hitting you, sunshine, bright sunshine, and just like you just feel that warmth. Just like literally radiate into you. You know. So yeah. Make sure I charge my phone here. Down to 36. Yeah, 36 or so percent. Charge it back up before I show you guys something else again. But yeah, I mean, stuff that I've been doing around here, right? Like, I'm sorry there's no... I haven't really released a lot of gardening type of videos this year. At the moment anyways, right? But you guys just saw something. Right? And it'll be somewhere in the middle of the stream, so you have to take a look. You have to take a look for it, right? Sometimes I can't help but, leak an image out, leak a picture out, or a sneak peek out randomly. But yeah. So one thing I've been thinking of doing... Not specifically today. Well, I was thinking about it today, but maybe not specifically today. But I've been thinking of setting up something. I still haven't set it up. It's still sitting on the top of a shelf right now. I still haven't set it up. I mean, it's not my primary. The one I primarily use, like when I go camping. I'm talking about a tent, by the way. You know, I've set that up many times. Here, friends' places, in the middle of a field, out in the country. I mean, yeah. Although I haven't set it up randomly in the snow, but it's a free season, not a horse season. But no, these are two, wow, or whatever. They were given to me, right? As is, right? I just haven't opened up the package, so to speak, to use them. I mean, there's bound to be some sort of usable material regardless, right? But, you know, I haven't seen it as a whole or as it originally was intended to be. Maybe I should try to do that this year. I think it's because I've been doing these other things, I've been putting it off. Then, like, it'd be like a day to day. Oh, the ground's wet. Oh, it's raining. I don't want to set it up, right? And so, like, then it'll become like 27 Celsius, 80 Fahrenheit. I'm like, oh, it's too hot. I don't want to set it up, right? So I'm just like, I gotta stop procrastinating on it. Who knows? Maybe it'll randomly be like one of those videos that drop in my lap or something like that. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Because it's one of those things I have to check, right? Because also I'm not gonna randomly bring a piece of gear, especially like a tent or whatever, that I've never used or set up, right? That's a lot of assuming there, right? I'm assuming the poles are there. I'm assuming there's no issues with it, right? I know my luck, right? It'll be like, oh yeah, I'll try it out. Land in the backyard or whatever first, but I'll try it like, you know, way in the middle of nowhere or whatever, right? Nearest gas station's miles and miles away or whatever, right? Kilometers away. I just like, I don't want to do that. Especially if I have to rely on it. Or with this, where you have to use it for more than one night. Yeah, it would be nice to realize that, oh, by the way, there's a hole in the mesh. That'd be nice to know beforehand, right? So I can make repairs or whatever beforehand. Or there's like a tear or a rip or a hole that I can patch it at least, or at least tape it up, right? And stuff like that. I mean, like, I think it's like a darker color tint. That's how much I know about it, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, I opened it, but I mean, like, I didn't actually set it up, right? So everything's folded into it. Oh, see? Sassy got hungry. See? She mentions food, then she had to go make dinner and all that stuff. She's like, it's all that food chat, CR, you know? I had to make dinner because I was hungry. And everyone else in my family's hungry. You know? And stuff like that. I wonder if Sassy's listening on headphones. Just randomly, people put me on speaker. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm on speaker. All right. Then it changes everything because now I know I am, right? But now what the last 5 minutes when you were talking BS, right? And then it's like, oh yeah, never mind. Forget what I said. It's not that bad then. Oh, they got hungry. I see. They were the ones that got hungry, right? I mean, I guess I could always pull a green onion out. Cut a green onion and chew on it if I really needed to. I've done that a few times. I don't do that all the time or frequently, but every so often I'll randomly do it. Alright. I don't mind it, actually. And I'll get a little bit of vitamin C out of it for what it is. Especially since I'm not heating it up or quote unquote cooking it. Like, you know, if I made an omelet or amongst some other things like that, right? Because I'm not actually heating it up. But yeah. Of course she does. Of course she likes green onions. And has no headphones on. Yeah, you're picking your beans? Nice, 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 nice. Nice, my earth. Yeah, so, like I said, I've just been doing these kind of things, right? Obviously, some other things I have to do at times, but gotta keep going and doing this stuff as much as possible for what it is, right? For what it is. You know what? I'm gonna change that up. Oh, look at this. Ta-da! If you type more, you can notice what I changed. Or maybe it says so. Or they already know. There's supposed to be an indication on screen for them. So yeah. But yeah. I've realized this year I'm trying to like, in terms of gardening, I'm not trying anything new. Like, nothing that's like, ooh, I'm gonna try this plant that I've never tried before. Not just cultivating it or growing it, but, you know, doing something with it if I'm not eating it or whatever, right? So, not doing anything like that, but I am trying to grow in different areas around here, or space I have, right? Stuff like that. I am trying some other things though. There's one thing I am doing. I've just expanded how many sunflowers I'm growing. I wasn't even gonna grow this many. Then randomly some volunteers happen amongst some other things. And the next thing you know, I'm here. Hold on one sec. Give me 1 sec. Yeah, just give me 1 second. I'm just trying to talk to someone real quick here. I guess I'm not excluded from people showing up. Hold on. Okay, I am back. Remember, this is live, so anything can happen. You know? And stuff like that. But yeah, some of my things are just kind of spent. Yeah, I could show you. I'll show you guys some. Some things that are spent, right? Like this. Spent, right? Well, that explains why, like, yeah. You were busy, right? It's like, oh, I gotta make sure I'm not double counting. Am I counting this right? Am I really seeing what I'm seeing? Is this number correct? I need someone to check my numbers here. Kind of deal, right? And stuff like that. But yeah, I am trying to grow other things. I'm trying something else this year. It's more of a set it and leave it type of deal, more or less, right? There's only one thing I've actually planted in this area, this one spot that I'm working on. But yeah, we'll see. I've never tried anything in this spot, but I've decided to like redo this one area that I have. Like literally, it looks very. I mean, there's not much to see, right? I mean, like, it's very more natural for what it is. I'm trying to understand it by doing, like I said, it's a more natural area. right? More natural area as much as I can for what it is, you know. Yeah, I guess there's something that you could consider as a weed, but it just depends what it is, right? Weed is only something that you don't want on a personal level, right? You know, stuff like that. And there's other things I'm like, I don't mind it growing there, kind of deal, right? Then there's other things I'm like, I actually don't want that growing there. I don't want to deal with it, right? So it is what it is. Prolific, yeah. Yeah, I remember that one year too, where I was counting these cherry tomatoes. I'm just like, I lost track after 50, right? And that was only the ones that actually had an actual fruit. I still had some that were still flowering in that flowering stage, right? That kind of typical flowering stage or late in the flowering stage, right? Where it's kind of already formed, but it hasn't been pollinated or whatever, or self-pollinated in this case or whatever, to develop the fruit. But I was just like, damn, that was a lot. I remember that one year. But that's also because I had a lot more tomatoes growing. I almost felt like I maxed out that area, that spot that I had the tomatoes. I'm just like, I think this is the upper limit here, you know. Yeah, I could have grew more, but it was starting to get like congested within the area, right? I had to do some major pruning during that time where I'm just like, you know, just because what it is, right, to get some airspace and like, and so I can actually see the tomatoes and all that stuff, right? You know, I was pretty much pruning everything except for like the very top, right? Enough for it to still get solar energy, like photosynthesis to happen, but like stuff like that. What? Dang! I want a pickle now. I mean, I want a pepper now, and a salad. At this rate, I might as well just pull out a green onion and chew on it now. My nerves just not to keep mentioning about food, salad, and that's all I'm thinking of now is like food and a salad and all that stuff. It'll be the only thing I can think of at this rate. So yeah, remove some of these extra flowers petals. It's because like if I don't do this anyways, it's just not literally fall and drop down, right? You know, I can let Mother Nature do chop and drop, but I'm trying to precisely aim it into a direction, right? Not over a path, but onto where I have soil and all that stuff around here. You think more rain's coming for you? I wouldn't mind some more rain. Actually, it would be randomly nice because I've seen this before at times where, like, even on a day like this, I'm seeing it to a certain degree where I'm seeing like a mix of weather conditions, right? Like even right now, like today, morning rain, afternoon sun, or at least not clear, but enough to do solar ignition or at least get some brighter sunny breaks. So that's not so good, right? So there's water in the ground for the plants in the root area, right? But the leaves can enjoy some sunshine and some photosynthesis, and you know, obviously the plant will do its thing and grow and sprout and you know, pull water from the ground, right, and all that stuff. So it'll be nice. So kind of glad about that. That's worried about like watering so much. I mean, yeah, they'll need water, right? I'm not as worried about that it's getting enough water because I'm just like, yeah, it's definitely getting enough water. At least for me here. So yeah. Huh, wow. I didn't even realize how much time I spent already. 90 minutes, 95 minutes almost. Dang. Feels like time just went by quickly. But yeah, like I said, I'm just organizing this couple of spots I have around here. Just taking a look at what is this? Oh, okay. Let's see what I got. This into this container. Water soluble type of fertilizer. What's this say? 18, 18, 21. So the NPK. So what's it? It's that granular stuff, kind of stuff. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I like the chop and drop or whatever, and kind of feed the soil to feed the microbes that can both help feed the plant, right? But I also have some of this stuff too. This granular type of stuff, you know. It kind of has that consistency of like coarse salt and stuff like that. Obviously, it's not salt in terms of sodium chloride, but you know, honestly, it's got water soluble things in here. I like how I'm just reading it. It just says plants need water, sunshine, and nutrition to flourish throughout the season. For best results, feed every 7 to 14 days when plants are actively growing. Right. I mean, I could if I really wanted to, right? But it's slow release natural, through natural means, right? Through decomposition, right? Compost, chop and drop, and all that stuff, right? That's a slow release for what it is, right? I mean, I spread it out, broadcast it out. I give it time, right? And I only do the chop and drop usually only during the fall. Well, usually only during the fall, right? I might chop and drop something in that I've had over the winter in the springtime, right? Because I need access to the ground, right? Just kind of bury it under the surface, right? And in time, the microbes, the bugs, and all that stuff, the fungi and all the stuff will kind of consume it and transform it into something biologically available for something else, like the plants. And all that stuff, right? And do that kind of, I'm going to communicate with the fungi and the bacteria in the ground kind of thing, right? You tried to make your own compost, but you never had enough. I think this is why I'm doing the chop and drop. I think if I had a larger area, a larger amount of biomass, then yeah, I would reconsider it, right? But if you have a small amount, right? Because there's supposed to be a minimal surface area or volume for hot composting, at least, right? Like, what was it, 3 by 3 feet? Well, 3 cubic feet, or about a cubic meter, right? So, like, and that's when it's but as it breaks down, it gets smaller, right? And of course, it releases heat, right? Like, I know it's faster, right? Don't get me wrong, but yeah, you don't have enough material, or it doesn't heat up all the way, right? I mean, yeah, it'll still break down, right? It just takes longer to be biologically available. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's broken down all the way, right? You can't see nitrogen in the ground. Or you can't see it. It's invisible, right? It's in the air that we breathe, right? It's what, 70% or whatever, right? So, like, you can't see it, right? You only know it's there through, like, something like a plant absorbing it, growing, or whatever, right? Or, you know, you go to a lab with a soil sample and, you know, and you could tell, right? Because someone had to do the research on that, right? Someone had to figure that stuff out. And when new plants grew because of water and all that stuff, I didn't know exactly why, right? Because back then, you know, I'm talking about, like, ancient times, Roman, medieval type times, right? Well, even slightly couple hundred centuries after that, right? It's just like it was always kind of like feed the plants, feed the soil to feed the plants, right? Chop and drop, you know, mulch and stuff like that, right? So I've been doing that first, right? Like some of this granule fertilizer I have, that's what water soluble, right? It's concentrated, right? You know, I can always use it later, or for containers, for example. That the containers will probably go for the nutrients in that soil medium that I have them in a lot faster, right? Also, I dilute it to the recommended concentration or strength, right? What it says on it, stuff like that. Well, I live in a part of Canada that's not too hot, not too cold right now. It's just right. Like last year at this time, more or less, it was like in the 90s. Today, high 60s. So I mean, I would like to see some sun though, right? Can't always be raining. Just like how it can't always be sunny. At least here, anyways, right? So makes that change. So yeah. Mm, no, I haven't. I haven't done that. Whatever. Yeah. You put in what you can, right? I think that's why I've gone towards chop and drop, right? Because I can easily just do it as I'm doing it, kind of deal, right? And let nature take care of the rest on it, right? You'll break down the time, kind of deal, right? Increase the surface area and stuff like that. You'll increase the decomposition of it. Because obviously, a whole apple would take a lot longer than one that's been chopped up really, really fine. Right? You increase the surface area for those microbes and bugs and beetles and all this other stuff that help decompose organic material, right? The fungi and all that stuff, right? Because I know during the winter here, because it gets that cold, and, especially since I don't have hot compost, the decomposition just almost slows right down, right? Because the bacteria can't reproduce in that cold. They'll slow down or stop, right? Maybe I'll get some fungi, but they'll be on the ground. That won't be on the surface. So I think that's why I've been doing it like this. And I'm seeing some positive results from it for what it is, where I can actually see some results because of increasing fertility in the ground. Yeah, you're gonna do that? Cool, Mother Earth. But yeah, I haven't tried that personally. I think I've heard of it around the tubes, as they say, right? But I haven't done it personally. Although there's other things I've tried out gardening, then they're a little bit different too. So, or not well known of. Oh, hey, look at that! I got some of these air flowers growing. I just noticed it right now. It wasn't like this history. I just started noticing it. Well, I've shown them on the channel before. Looks like I'm gonna get a lot of that. Like I said, I'm on like this third tier or third stage of flowering in terms of like what flowers, right? I've already passed by the first two. Now, the daisies that I've shown, well, already on this live stream for a brief second, and the ones I've shown before they're in that second stage or second tier of flowering. The things that flower. I'm kind of on the third stage now of what things flower for this time of year. First two stages, although those flowers are already spent. gone. You know, the pollinators enjoyed them, whatever, right? The bugs enjoyed it, and I enjoyed looking at them and taking pictures and showing you guys, but, you know, that's gone. So I'm gonna work on the next batch of flowers, I guess. You're just trying trying it out for the first time, eh? Yeah, yeah. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. I mean, I've been trying some stuff out with some plants too. At least attempting it, or trying to, at least considering it, or heavily considering it, and stuff like that, as much as I can. Yep. Yep. I knew it. Should I eat before I start the stream? Because my nerves make me hungry with all this food talk. I guess I've sprouted her interest in wanting to mention stuff and communicate and leave comments. So I guess I shouldn't be so harsh there. You want to make salad? It's salad. Salsa? Cool. See, now I'm picking up the tomatoes now. See. I mean, I'll still have to wait. Obviously, they're not ripe yet, right? They just barely formed. I mean, some of them are, like, pretty big already for the time of year. Generally speaking, alright? I always compare it to previous years, right? I never gauge it by, like, area by area, because it changes. You know, microclimates and all this stuff. What's in the soil, the percentage of this and that, right? How much moisture, even how much daylight it gets, right? You know, obviously something on the north-facing sun with a lot of shade won't grow as fast, you know, compared to something that south-facing and really enjoys the sun, and you give it the same amount of water, well, it's going to probably grow bigger. That I do know, for sure. Generally speaking, alright? Generally speaking. Yeah, I figured so much. You're just getting color on them now, right? Besides that kind of starting stage of the color, right? Depending what they are, right? Yeah. It's not like I got red tomatoes fruiting right now. No, they're still in that immature, not mature stage of the fruiting, you know. So if the flowering is the first start of it, seeing a little bit of something that looks like pea, yeah, that's like kind of like infant stage, right? So it's like I'm probably in that adolescent stage of it. It's not ripe in a mature stage yet. Yeah, I just used all those words to talk about a plant or a tomato, yeah. Oh, that's good, Murr. Nice. Yeah. Oh, your ends are still small. You talking about the bulbs? I'm assuming you're talking about the bulbs. Right. I'm assuming you're talking about the bulbs and not the stalks or the greens on them. I mean, some of these I actually have to cut soon. Actually, I think I will, probably. Maybe I'll try to figure out what I can use them for. Maybe I'll make something and eat some green onions with it. I've done it before. I don't mind it. Adds flavor into stuff, right? Without necessarily adding in, like, quote-unquote seasoning, right? Instead of having a, you know, if you're on a sodium restriction or whatever, right? You know, and you don't want to use that potassium or sodium or salt substitute that has potassium in it, right? Green onion might be able to add some flavor into a dish, stuff like that. Is there such a thing as self-induced hunger pains? Yeah, because I think I just talked about that. I'm just my mouth started to water. See the influence? See the influence that my my side chat does on me at times. Yeah, I know, right? Oh, that's cool. That's cool, murderer. Nice, nice. Yeah, I'm just checking on some of the ones I have. They're starting to get somewhere. They're starting to get somewhere. Like I said, I might actually have to prune a little bit again. I don't think I actually need this much foliage cover. I shouldn't say foliage cover. That many things to absorb solar energy. I think I'll still be able to do with a little bit less. I'll just, redirect it to a certain degree. Kind of prune off some of the leaves or whatever that are doing less, or that are closer to the ground and stuff like that, or could touch the soil, right? I think the last thing I need is to have some sort of blight attack some of them. I've had issues with blight before, but most of the time I either have enough to get by, that won't matter, or it's very localized, like 1 or 2 tomatoes at most, or whatever, right? I have issues with, not the whole plant. So we'll have to see. It's kind of, I did some pruning the other week, but it's just like, it just feels like it doesn't even look like I did anything. Right? Because look, it's been like the foliage has increased again, right? So, and since I actually have them close enough that they're touching technically, or they could be touching, right? So some of them overlap and stuff like that. I don't know. Because honestly, I'm growing tomatoes. You grow tomatoes for fruit, right? No one grows tomatoes really for the foliage or the flowers, right? You're growing it for fruit, right? Quite honestly, right? Quite seriously, that's the reason, right? Unlike other plants out there can be grown for reasons, right? As far as I know, I don't know anyone that grows tomatoes for anything else but tomatoes, really, right? Ah. Oh, that sucks, my roof. A big grrr type of face, right? Not a grin, but a grrr type of face. Just like, ugh, not again. And stuff like that. I guess that's how it goes, right? If it's not that, someone's weed eating your random seedling on the ground, or stepping on it, or kneeling on it, or turning your back and like literally squashing the squash plant, or whatever, right? Or stepping on it, right? So it's all part of that gardening kind of type of scenario, right? And stuff like that. See, wonder if that's why I decided to like add in more things randomly around. So the wild rabbits that I can see at times, right? Maybe I can get them to have something else instead, right? Something easy for them. They don't even have to come all the way around to go get it, right? And stuff like that. They don't have to reach or any of that, and it's like quick in and out, right? And then they're more likely to go for that, I would assume, versus something that they have to try at a lot more, right? You know what I mean? Something that's like on the surface. They don't actually have to dig or, be on hind legs and, reach up for it too, right? Some easy food for them, right? Because all of a sudden they're foraging around, right, and stuff like that. So, and there's other things around, but if they come over here in my area, well, I'll offer in something. I think this is why I'm trying to grow this air spot that I showed earlier, just so there's something else around for them, right? And hopefully they'll leave my garden space, my garden beds, or harvest. I need to harvest this to have for me later space, right? Yeah, or that. Same thing. Okay. It's this wild animal, not domesticated, right? That enters your area, foraging for food, looking for food, right? It's just doing what it does, right? I'm just indirectly helping them, right? And stuff like that. Or something I could sacrifice, but to sacrifice this so I can, so this, the second one can do better, right? There's a bunch of words that's known as, right? And stuff like that. I think this is one of the reasons why I grew some of the extra sunflowers out, too, so. Because I know something's been nibbling on some of the leaves, and I don't really mind, alright? Because these short sunflowers I have are like pretty much for a little tiny flower, if it does that, and to cover the soil, like something that's grown on the top, right? To cover the soil and as biomass for later after it's depleted or spent, right? That's pretty much it. You know, a rabbit's not gonna be able to like really get the higher spots on the sunflower that's like 6 feet tall. Right? Let's face it, right? Probably not, right? But some of the shorter ones or whatever, whatever, it's fine. You know, if it's want to chew on the baby leaves, right? Those called the leading leaves, right? The baby leaves, whatever. Not a big deal to me. You know, providing it doesn't chew the whole thing down, right, or something like that. I mean, like, I guess it's possible for a bird to do that too, right? It pecks at something, and then next thing you know, it kind of like stomps out this little spot that used to be like a sunflower or whatever, right? I mean, I guess it happens. Just like I could slip and take a step into something, into a patch or something, and it's like, oops, but I slipped. All right, it's one of those things. And so I'm just like, whatever. It is what it is. Just keep going with it, right? Because it's just like, you know, it's just like water, for example, as a metaphor where, you don't have to drink it, right? You can't save it forever, right? And sometimes it can be altered or contaminated or, altered or consumed by someone else or whatever, it spills, right? So things like that happen too, right? With water. So I assume gardening wouldn't be that much more different, right? Yeah, it kind of sucks when, you ask someone to do something or to cut something and they cut the wrong one or something along the lines. And then, that time can tick you off for a little bit. And you're like, well, but that's why more and more lately I'm like, wait a second. Thank goodness I have like 5 other spares, right? I have a redundant source of them, right? Or a contingency plan on them, right? This kind of stuff, right? It's just like thinning out your seedlings or your sprouts, right? That kind of same thing, right? Because no one complains about that, right? But, it's the same thing, right? The only difference is that you're the one pulling it out, physically pulling it out. I think that's why it's different, right? I think I've noticed, especially with myself, if I make the mistake and I know that I made it or I screwed up, whatever, right? I just, I think it's when someone else does it in front of you, then it's just like, then you get upset. Even though, it's the same thing that happened, it's just someone else did it, right? It's because someone else did it. I think it's because if I stepped on the tomato plant, broke the sunflower or whatever, that's all on me, right? Kind of deal, right? Even this one year I had this, I overwatered, I got the stalk too wet on the sunflower, and the wind picked up, and basically the stem got too soft, the stalk got too soft, and it was windy, and the weight of the sunflower head caused it to fall. And there was no going back, because it was snapped at the base, right? Can't grow anything without roots, right? So I had to chop and drop it. But, I mean, that only happened once. But I'm trying to make sure now. I'm like, let's just make sure that was only one time, right? Or once in a blue moon, right? Because at that stage, I'm only getting so much out of it, right? I'm not getting mature seeds out of it because it was long enough for the seeds to develop, let alone flower, right? I mean, yeah, I can get other things out of it, so it wasn't so bad. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's about a ruler plus a third of a ruler, a school ruler, right? 30 centimeters to 10, what, 12 inches? 13, 20, like 12 inches or so, right? No, that should be like closer to. No, that's more than 12. That's more than a foot. Yeah, a foot is shorter than 30 centimeters. If I remember right. If I remember right. Hopefully I do remember right. So, yeah. Yeah, see, now I'm not getting the sunny breaks anymore. I'm seeing it more like clouding over. Almost like it's overcasting over, I guess. Hold on a sec. So, yeah. So I'm just like. What's Wow, did I really seriously go for that half an hour that fast? What's my time here? Alright. I'm going to the bottom of an hour only. I didn't realize how long I was going for. It's because my Earth's here. She's in here with me. I'm just like chilling with Sandy here. Really? I haven't had that issue yet. I've never seen a squirrel on my sunflower. I mean, yeah, I've seen the birds drop by or whatever. I think it's because, I don't know, maybe there's other sources for it. It doesn't need to do that. I don't know. Or maybe I'm outside enough. I don't know. I don't know, because I know I got this. I've seen them around. I just never seen them on the sunflower, personally. I've heard of this. I'm just like, but I've never seen it myself, right? You know. Honestly, you look at the birds, the pollinators, and all that stuff hanging around it, but I never actually noticed the sunflower. The squirrels actually like climbing the sunflower. I mean, I guess it's possible. I don't know. I just never noticed it, like ever, since I've started doing it more. But I guess it's possible. Yeah, exactly. Time flies like a flying squirrel. Oh, I just said that. I'm just taking a look at some of the sunflowers I have. Some of the stuff is just like, you know, because I have other plants nearby. Like literally, I can use like the sunflower like a trellis for some of them. For some of them, not all of them, but for some of them. I don't know. I I have this like little short sunflower sticking out of this bigger sunflower, relatively speaking. Like it's just so cool how that happened. I mean, I didn't prune that off because I knew what it was. Well, it's going to develop a small flower. I think I'm just going to do that just for hell of it. Although this one's a little bit shorter than the other ones, even though its leaf size is comparable to them. But the leaf size is smaller though, so it's much shorter than the other ones I have. I mean, it is like, people hate now, but it's much shorter than some of the other ones I have. Some of these other ones are like, well, taller than people. That's why, that's why I call them. It's people height, right? Within that, beyond 3 foot, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 foot size, right? Where the sunflower is taller than your doorway, right? An average size doorway that you see, closet door, whatever, right? Yeah, I have a sunflower that's taller than that. All the way down to the base, right? Also, right? So, it is quite tall right now for me. Actually, I need to check on something while I'm doing this. It reminds me. I have to check to see if the crown's forming on the sunflower head yet. Because once it does that, then I know it will be... Yeah, see, I can notice it now. I'm noticing the crown. So that means the height won't increase that much more. Alright? Because once the crown starts forming, like, you'll see this disc on the sunflower growing, right? And it's fairly noticeable. Because there's a difference between, like, obviously these sunflowers, wait, I have nowhere to lie. Nowhere to lie. Yeah, ooh, look. Right there, see? You'll see that round thing? That is the sunflower head starting. That's the sunflower head starting. I know it is, because I've seen this before, which means that it's not going to grow that much taller. It might get an extra half a foot at most, but... And then once it starts flowering, it will start to weigh it down, because the flower head will start getting heavier, with the seeds forming, all of that stuff, right? The water pushed into that, you know, and all that stuff. So, probably right now, it's its maximum height. So, it'll still be good. Let's see what kind of sunflower head I get. I'm hoping at least a foot, 12 inches. That'd be nice. Or, you know, maybe on that higher, lower 10, 8-inch side, right? And these other ones I have, they're not at that stage yet. Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely not at that stage yet. They're in this kind of, what I call the triangle or the green flowering stage, which for a sunflower is basically when you see the top of it, you just see the free leaves and all that stuff, and just a repeatable pattern, right? Like, I can't really show you because sunflower is quite high. But that's what I mean right here. Where am I pointing at? Right here. That's what I mean. It's still in this stage, which means it's not doing that. It's not in that flowering stage yet, or where it develops the crown for the flower head. Stuff like that. Maybe I moved away too far. Hold on. Come on. Transmission is unstable to do weak network connection. Yeah, I didn't think I was that far out. I kind of can't move that off the screen though. I'm trying to move this thing off the screen so I can see the chat or whatever. Yeah. I've noticed that before, Sandy. I've noticed that before. Because I randomly did it, right? And it makes sense, I guess, right? So, and I have another example of it. So, yes. It is possible to get smaller sunflower. Well, they'll always be smaller, but you'll have more. That's the trade-off, right? That's the trade-off. But sometimes it just happens randomly or accidentally, right? So you might as well just keep going with it, right? This is why I've been learning how to use the sunflower for other things at times. Or for other reasons. As much as possible. 10 more minutes. It's 20 after right now. As I took a look at my clock. But yeah, that's why I was just like, you know, let it fly, right? Let it fly. I've heard some other things, but I haven't tried. There's this one thing I heard about sunflower. I'm like, what? That can do that? Like, I always thought, you know, only something like a tomato can do something like that. Right? But I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. They said something about something similar to it. So I was like, I have no idea. I've never seen anyone shown that outside this one video I saw it, right? But is that a variety dependent, or, you know, or does it really matter, right? Or is it like a tomato that it doesn't matter the variety of tomato, it does it anyways, right? It's one of those inherent traits of the plant. And that kind of thing. Oh, it broke down in a windstorm? Or broke off, yeah. Your neighbors are barking. I mean, your dogs are barking at the neighbors. Your neighbors are barking. Oh my gosh! I can't believe I just read that sentence like literally like in reverse. I said the wrong words first on that. I was just like, yeah, I'm glad they're not. I'm glad she doesn't have me on speakerphone or on speaker or something like that. Yeah, that'd be embarrassing. That'd be embarrassing. Let's see, where am I at? Oh. Why is my phone not charged? Okay. Oh. Yeah. Let's see. So yeah, I'll probably go into that. I know. Yeah. Bottom of the hour. Actually, it will be the bottom of the hour. Because I might as well do what Sassy did and cook some dinner. I think I'll take a page out of the recipe book. All right, metaphorically speaking, a page out of that book, and do something among some other things. But yeah, I guess I got enough power. 32 should be enough for the next couple minutes, anyways. Time. Yep. Just like that. It looks like overcast out again. So, this my solar light's got something, not ideal, and also it's not clear out. So, at least maybe something a little bit better than a trickle charge, hopefully. I mean, it did see some strong sunshine. Briefly. Alright. Yeah. It's just like rain when I think about it, alright? It's just like, if it's not strongly pouring, then it better be like long lasting but slow then, alright? Or else it'll never accumulate to anything. In generally speaking, right? Because I'd rather see it where it's like raining like steadily for a longer period of time, right? And not just kind of this flash storm, sudden pouring that lasts for like 5 minutes, then it totally stops and the sun comes back out. That kind of thing too. I've seen that before too, where like literally. I remember this one time I was walking and it's just like, oh, it's 0% chance of shower. This turned into 100% random afternoon shower that changed into like sun showers, right? And it did seem like it poured slightly, like definitely faster than light rain or spitting, right? But it lasted for like 10 minutes only, right? Sun came back out, right? Like literally within a half an hour, the ground was dry because it didn't linger that long, right? It might have rained in terms of and how much in given second a lot, but it didn't last in terms of duration, right? Because I've seen at times where it's late rain, faster than spinning, but it's not pouring out, but hours of it, right? And I'm like, damn, because you don't notice how much water it is unless you see it fill up a container, like a rain catcher or whatever. I'm just like, did it really just fill that up, right? Even though it's just like, not spitting, but light rain within that range, right? But it's not medium or, pouring. Well, lucky you, Mother Earth. Lucky you, right? I can't eat until I finish the stream. But although I am thinking of what I want to harvest now. See, now I feel like harvesting some green onion. The tomato, there's no... like I said, I'm not done harvest tomato because they're definitely not ready yet. I got some more on the side here. I even got a few in a couple of containers for fun. These are the spares. They're not grown in the ground. I might show a video later in the season on it. They're like literally right beside me right now. Just something I'm doing for fun, experimenting with it, understanding about it, right? And stuff like that. But unfortunately, I don't have soil and a garden bed and space everywhere to grow something. Or at least in a more permanent setting. So some containers might be useful to do, right? So I'm trying, for fun. Just for fun, right? Also, I'm not going to expect some major yield off of a container plant of one, right? But these containers that I have of some plants, well, I can move them around, right? Fill in spaces I can't naturally just put a garden bed in because, it's in the middle of, sitting on, something. Sitting beside a pole. Sitting beside a bench. Or a chair or whatever, or a fence or whatever, right? Something like that where you can't really have or don't want to have something more permanent, so something kind of part way permanent, temporary, is the next best thing. I see. It can't happen like that. Like a 3% or 0% chance. I mean, sometimes it just happens, right? Or it's really isolated, right? I mean, isolated showers is possible, right? You talk to people, or you can even see it at times, right? Literally, you go 100 feet one direction, it's not raining, then you go back, it's raining right there, right? It's just that there's a slight gradient of it's spitting, then it's dry, right? Because you're not where the rain's falling or the cloud is, right? Just the way it is. Because I've seen that before where in certain places or whatever, right? Literally, it's pouring where I am. Not right now, but hypothetically speaking, right? Go for a drive or even a walk for let's say 15 minute drive, and then it's just it totally changes. No moisture, no puddles or whatever. And you just saw pouring rain, that kind of thing, and big puddles, right? It is just so sometimes, it could be isolated showers, even isolated thunder showers, as they say, right? So it is possible, right? Because depending on the area and how big the system is, the cloud cover is, and all that stuff, how well developed or gathered it is, right? And then then there's other times where it's just it's light rain all day, and all you see is cloud, right? Because the system is so big that it covers your whole area, right? You would have to drive for an hour just to see something different, right? Because the system's so big coming through your area, whatever, just the way it is, all the time. Yeah, I've heard about those. Because I've been thinking about the spacing, right? And I'm well, if I can't increase the area or plant more here, then maybe I can use spaces that don't actually have anything growing. Because they're growing in a container, and I can move them around, and they're not permanent. Of course, container gardening, I gotta water or fertilize maybe a little bit more often, just because they have less soil in them, right? Has less buffer zone, all right? Because obviously the water can evaporate faster. Well, you can't put that much water in, right? There's an upper limit of capacity or saturation for the ground, right? Afterwards, it starts to leak it out, right? Because it can't hold any more moisture, right? So container is the same thing, just smaller in comparison to a whole bed or whatever, right? Even a flower pot is bigger than a cup, right? So, stuff like that. Yeah, so all the time. I must really like talking to my roof because I forgot it's the bottom of the hour. I was supposed to Anyways, everyone. Anyways. Okay, 2-minute warning on the stream, like usual. And I'm gonna give 2 minutes because, my roof's here. Yeah, I figured that much, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that'd probably be the only way to move it around, I guess, hey? Because once it's filled with soil and water and plants, well, it's going to get much heavier, right? Especially with the water in there, right? The water probably weighs more than soil, right? I know some people say, lift your container plants before you add water, lift them up and see how heavy they are, right? If it ever gets that light, to add water, because as soon as you add water, the water's in between the soil particles and all that stuff. And obviously there's some air, right? But the soil is holding some water that you just poured in, so it's gonna be heavier wet or with water. Yeah. I seen that. Yeah. Yeah. Top down water. Yeah. I've seen the videos. Well, I know some of my viewers have some of that stuff. I am one. I am not one of them. I definitely don't have that. You have 8 of them. I just said I had none, and here my was like, oh yeah, I get 8 of them. CR, by the way. Kidding. But yeah. See. I wouldn't mind one though. I think I need to actually get used to doing it, and what I actually not growing it in the first place, right? I think that would be. I think that's like if that develops more, then maybe might be a consideration for me in the distant future. Also, not this year, or maybe not even next year, but maybe eventually. Eventually, you know. No, I've seen them before, my Earth. I've seen them on other channels. Yeah, because they're in a set of 3, like a triangle. Just like how the sunflower grows within shapes of triangles. Well, spades for the leaves, but, you know, as it flowers out and you know, widens out. You have a Virgo garden raised beds too? Wow. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So yeah. So I appreciate, yes, now I will be closing the show. I appreciate everyone that dropped by, even for a brief moment of time, and the people that stuck around with me and made me hungry again. I mean, what can I use, Sassy? Just kidding. It's all good, but, I appreciate her coming by, and, of course, Iron Fireworks, and, of course, you, my nerve. Can't forget her, because she's still with me right now. I can't forget Sandy. She's still here. All right, I gotta mention her. Oh, wow. Oh, I imagine so. The way that you keep talking about this sounds just like, dang, it's definitely got to be big. It'd be like this disclaimer that pops at the bottom. This garden is smaller than it appears. Right? It's much bigger than you think. All right. It's just like anything, Well, unless you start saying measurements or have some sort of thing that's laid out like a tape measure or a piece of line like paracord that's like 20 feet, you'd be like, oh, that's actually that big, right? Because it's hard to tell length in a video at times without reference points. Like something like fairly, you can search for it or know the height of it, like a vehicle or something like that. Wow, wheel height, a bench, a chair, right? Something like that, where generally how big that is, right? So you can estimate to a certain degree how big it is, yes. Anyways, everyone, go out there. Do something awesome out there. Learn new things the best that you can. Because when things change out there, in time, try to adapt, right? Try to roll with the punches, or whatever the saying is, all right? And go out and practice some things the best that you can. Even if it's in your backyard, like growing a tomato or a sunflower or onions or peas or beans or whatever, right? Even if it's in a container. Apparently Mother Earth has many of them, and I've seen her channels have them, right? And go practice that stuff as much as you can. Get more proficient at it, right? Know it like the back of your hand and stuff like that. See it for your own self, right? Beyond just the gear, beyond just a video, right? That kind of thing. As much as you can, right? And when possible, go out and support, help people out there, especially local people around your area, right? Try to make your own area better. Try to improve your space, right? Improve your own situation, right? The best that you can. You know, I know sometimes, you don't have the time. You're not big enough, not strong enough, not tall enough, don't have a truck, or don't have a vehicle or whatever. Yeah, so you can't always help everyone that you want to help at times, right? But try to, when it's possible, try to help someone out there. All right? It could be as simple as, hey, this car's going to turn, but it doesn't have the right of way. It's waiting for the light to change. I'm going to press this light to make the light change, even though I'm not crossing the street, because I could tell that this guy wants to turn at this intersection, but has to wait for the light to change. That kind of thing, right? That kind of thing, right? Where it's very, maybe even not noticeable, but you're like, yeah, I would notice that kind of thing. Anyways, everyone, take care out there. And remember, we, us, you, me, we can do a lot out there. All right? You just gotta give it a try. Because you'll never know. You'll never know until you try and see it for yourself. You might be surprised what you can achieve, what you're able to do, right? But it starts with trying first, doing it for yourself, learning about it, and all that stuff. All right, everyone. It's time to go eat something. And I'll see you all next time, everyone. And I'll catch you next time. As soon as I hit the end key. Oh, yeah, it's right here. See you guys.